What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Let's dive into our first news. Magomed Ankalaev has fired back at Alex Pereira following some bold comments made by the light heavyweight champion. Just yesterday, Alex made it clear that if Magomed doesn't get the job done at UFC 320, there won't be a rematch. Those words quickly spread across the MMA world, and it didn't take long for Magomed or whoever runs his accounts to respond with his own fiery message. The situation started when Alex was asked about the possibility of running it back with Magomed should their fight go the distance or result in controversy. Alex didn't hold back, saying that if Magomed loses this time, the story is over. He explained that the decision ultimately lies with the UFC, but from his perspective, a loss would shut the door on Magomed's title hopes. Alex added that he's willing to fight anyone the promotion puts in front of him, but he doesn't see Magomed staying in the title picture if he fails to win at UFC 320. In his words, "I think the story will be over. It's obviously out of my control. It's up to the UFC. If they want to do it again, I'll fight anyone." To be honest, from everything we've seen, I think with him losing, I don't think he's gonna fight for the title anymore. Those comments didn't sit well with Magomed, and he decided to clap back with a sharp and cutting response. Taking to his platform, he wrote, "You're right. I'm not going to have any say because you're going to be sleeping and on your way working at the tire shop again." That statement was a direct shot at Alex, mocking him with references to his past and promising to put him away inside the octagon. It was a clear message that Magomed isn't backing down and that he's fully confident in ending Alex's reign when they clash. This kind of back and forth is exactly what fans love to see before a massive fight. The stakes are already sky high with the light heavyweight title on the line, but the added tension between these two men only makes the build-up even bigger. Magomed has long been seen as one of the toughest challenges in the division, and now with Alex holding the belt, the fight feels like one of the most important clashes at 205 pounds in recent years. With UFC 320 approaching, the anticipation is reaching a boiling point. Alex has the knockout power and championship experience, while Magomed brings relentless pressure and an all-around dangerous skill set. Their war of words has only fueled the fire, and when they finally step into the cage, fans can expect nothing short of fireworks. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We are constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That is why we truly appreciate it if you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on MMA Pulse News. Moving on to another news, rounding out today's UFC update segment, a clip has surfaced of Tom Aspinall sparring with Glory kickboxing champion Rico Verhoeven, and it's already got fans talking. In the footage, Aspinall is seen circling away before Rico shoots in and manages to take him down with a clean double leg. The moment spread quickly across social media, with fans debating whether Aspinall was going all out or simply working through some lighter training scenarios. Many pointed out that the heavyweight champion didn't seem to be using his full strength or speed, suggesting that he may have allowed the exchange to play out more for training purposes, rather than defending with his usual sharpness. Rico Verhoeven, best known for his dominance in the kickboxing world, has long been regarded as one of the greatest heavyweight strikers in combat sports. While he is not primarily known for his grappling, his time training with Aspinall has clearly helped him round out his skills. Fans of both fighters know that sparring sessions are often about testing new techniques and not necessarily about winning every exchange, so seeing Rico hit a successful takedown on Aspinall doesn't diminish the UFC star's abilities. Instead, it shows that Verhoeven is expanding his arsenal and learning to adapt his striking-heavy style into mixed martial arts scenarios. It's worth remembering that Rico actually competed in MMA once back in 2015, where he secured a win in his only professional fight. Since then, he has focused entirely on kickboxing, building a legacy as one of the most dominant champions in the sport. However, training with a well-rounded fighter like Aspinall has given him opportunities to sharpen different areas of his game. Even though Rico may never return to MMA, these sparring clips prove he's been working hard behind the scenes to evolve beyond his striking pedigree. For Aspinall, moments like this are simply part of the grind. He's preparing for the toughest challenges in the heavyweight division, and training with elite athletes across different disciplines only strengthens his own development. Whether it's testing his reactions against a world-class striker or defending takedowns against an opponent who brings unique timing, Aspinall benefits from every exchange. While fans might jump on a single clip and debate whether the UFC champion was caught off guard, those inside the gym know this is how champions sharpen their craft. The clip has added some fun to the ongoing discussion around Aspinall's rise as a dominant figure in the UFC heavyweight division. With the division heating up and big matchups looming, his training with athletes like Rico shows he's constantly pushing himself to be ready for any style that comes his way. Moving on to another news, Belal Muhammad has given his official breakdown and prediction for the highly anticipated matchup between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Speaking in a recent YouTube video, Belal made it clear that fight week just isn't complete without a Canelo fight breakdown. He joked about his own coach saying he's got hands like Canelo, and the way everyone laughed about it, but quickly shifted gears into serious analysis. Belal explained that while he respects Crawford's incredible skill set, his style, and his ability to switch stances with ease, he ultimately feels the size and power difference will play a decisive role in this fight. Belal highlighted how Crawford's speed, sharp counters, and head movement are some of the best in the sport. He admires Crawford's defensive abilities from both orthodox and southpaw, but he also noted that one stance is always going to be slightly more effective than the other. In his view, that's where Canelo could find opportunities to break through. Belal believes Canelo's ability to walk his opponents down, apply pressure, and deliver those trademark thumping shots to the body and head will make all the difference. He pointed out that Canelo thrives on staying in his opponent's face, throwing heavy hooks, and forcing fighters to absorb punishing body shots. For Belal, this style creates the kind of relentless pressure that's hard to counter, especially when paired with Canelo's natural size advantage. He doesn't see this fight ending in a brutal knockout, but he does predict Canelo will wear Crawford down as the rounds progress. The key factors for him are Canelo's physicality and raw power, which he feels Crawford won't be able to fully neutralize despite his elite skill set. Belal admitted he loves watching Crawford fight because of how dynamic he is. From switching stances seamlessly to countering with precision, Crawford makes everything look smooth and effortless. Still, when it comes to fighting someone like Canelo, who has proven time and again that he can handle world-class technicians and bring them into his pace, Belal says the outcome feels clear. Wrapping up his breakdown, Belal stated with confidence that his pick is Canelo Alvarez to get the win over Terence Crawford. He emphasized that his reasoning comes down to size and power being too much to overcome, and he's sticking with that call. He signed off reminding fans that his predictions have been on fire lately, encouraging everyone to like, subscribe, and share his breakdowns as Fight Week continues. Moving on to another news, Arman has once again gone off on Ilia, throwing shade at the lightweight champion following his massive knockout win over Charles Oliveira at UFC 317. Arman made it clear that he believes Ilia tends to gas out when pushed, and he doesn't see him as a high-level grappler. With confidence, he stated that both he and Islam Makhachev would easily hold Ilia down if they ever fought. Arman even teased his game plan, hinting that he already knows how to dismantle Ilia's striking-heavy style and expose the weaknesses in his ground game. The rivalry between these two has been brewing for quite some time, but now with Ilia holding the belt, the tension has never been higher. Stylistically, it's one of those clashes that fans dream about. On one side, you've got Arman's relentless pressure, chain wrestling, and suffocating pace. On the other, Ilia brings knockout power, crisp boxing, and patience in the pocket. It's a recipe for fireworks when the two finally collide. Even though the fight isn't happening next, the possibility of it happening in the near future feels very real. The only obstacle right now comes from the UFC itself. After the fallout from Arman's failed main event booking against Islam, Dana White and the promotion have been cautious with him. That moment left a mark, and it's the reason Arman has been kept just out of reach of the title picture for the time being. But as fans know, one big win changes everything. If Arman grabs another high-profile victory and keeps the heat on, it's only a matter of time before he forces his way into a grudge match with Ilia. When asked to break down Ilia as a fighter, Arman gave a surprisingly balanced response. He admitted that Ilia is a very good boxer who hits extremely hard. He described him as patient, someone who doesn't rush, who waits for the right moment and never forces things. That composure, Arman noted, is a rare quality among fighters. Even when Ilia takes a clean shot, he doesn't panic. Instead, he stays calm, moves with precision, and relies on his fight IQ to find openings. Those, Arman admitted, are Ilia's strongest traits, but then came the breakdown of the weaknesses. Arman pointed directly to the clinch. In his eyes, Ilia begins to gas out in clinch exchanges, and that's where his power fades. That's the area Arman intends to exploit, shutting down the knockout threat by dragging the fight into wrestling-heavy positions. He also reminded everyone that Ilia hasn't truly been tested by elite wrestlers yet. The only opponent who managed to take him down was Bryce Mitchell, and even though he was able to hold him there, Arman dismissed Mitchell as not being a high-level fighter. To him, that performance wasn't enough to accurately judge Ilia's grappling. Arman believes that wrestlers like Islam and himself are on another level. In his eyes, they can take Ilia down, control him, and neutralize his striking with ease. That confidence is what fuels his desire to one day share the octagon with the champion. For now, Arman is expected to face Dan Hooker before the end of the year. His manager, Ali Abdelaziz, who has close ties with the UFC, recently confirmed that this matchup is the most likely scenario. With these fights lining up, the lightweight division is finally starting to take shape. The contenders are circling, the rivalries are intensifying, and fans are getting a much clearer picture of how the road to the title is forming. A collision between Arman and Ilia feels inevitable, and when it happens, the anticipation will be sky high. Moving on to another news, Dana White has stirred the MMA world once again by saying there's a huge possibility that Conor could fight on the UFC White House card next summer. Conor has been pushing hard for a return and has been pretty vocal about wanting to be part of this historic event. After logging his first UFC anti-doping test and officially re-entering the testing pool last month, he's been sharing training footage and keeping fans buzzing about when he'll finally step back inside the octagon. Dana, during an appearance on the Jim Rome show this week, admitted that there's a strong chance Conor will indeed get his wish. When pressed on the subject, Dana explained that while Conor has won just one fight in the past 7 years, his star power and influence in the fight game still carry tremendous weight. Dana said he will start building the White House card in February, and if everything aligns, Conor could absolutely be on that lineup. Despite the doubts surrounding Conor's consistency and reliability, Dana made it clear that he still respects the former double champ and knows the kind of attention he brings. The conversation highlighted the complicated relationship between Dana and Conor. On one hand, Dana openly admitted that Conor has been through a lot of trouble over the years, both inside and outside the cage. But on the other hand, Dana acknowledged the undeniable impact Conor has had on the sport, especially during his prime years when he brought in record-breaking numbers and massive paydays. Dana compared the fight business to sports like golf or tennis, emphasizing that MMA is far more brutal and demanding. Whether Conor still has what it takes to deliver at the highest level is the big question Dana believes only time will answer. Still, fans remain skeptical. Many are hesitant to buy into the hype after what happened with UFC 303. Conor was scheduled to face Michael Chandler in what would have been one of the biggest comebacks in UFC history, but he ended up pulling out of the fight. That decision left a sour taste for fans, and ever since, the belief has been that until Conor is physically walking into the octagon and the cage door closes, no one will truly be convinced he's back. The hype machine around Conor never really stops though. Even when he's inactive, his name remains one of the most searched and talked about in the sport. His potential involvement in the UFC White House card instantly elevates the anticipation surrounding that event. For Dana, it's about striking the right balance between giving fans the fights they want and ensuring Conor can actually deliver. As he put it, this is the fight business, not tennis, not golf. Fighters have to step in and prove they can still perform, and that's exactly what Conor will have to do if this return materializes. For now, all eyes are on early next year when Dana begins putting together the official White House card. If Conor stays healthy, continues to train, and avoids setbacks, there's a real chance fight fans could finally witness his long-awaited comeback on one of the most historic stages the UFC has ever put together. Moving on to another news, Hearn has made it clear that he's ready to compete against Dana White as the UFC boss continues to push into the world of boxing. For years, Dana has been vocal about his desire to get into the boxing business, and now, as he and Turki Alalshik prepare to deliver one of the biggest fights of the year with Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford, Hearn is welcoming the competition. During an interview with Charlie Parsons, Hearn admitted that he respects Dana White, but because of that respect, he wants to go head-to-head with him and prove that he is the better promoter. Hearn explained that in his eyes, Dana is seen as the CEO of the UFC, the face of the company who built it into what it is today, and that's exactly why he wants to challenge him in boxing. Hearn said he has no interest in insulting Dana, stressing that he's not looking to tear him down or create personal beef. Instead, he's focused on showing that nobody can just walk into boxing and take over the sport overnight. He made it clear that while competition is always welcome, the idea of steamrolling through boxing simply isn't realistic, and he's determined to prove that. For Hearn, boxing is his domain, and after years of working with some of the biggest names in the sport, he feels this is his time to show he's still the leading promoter in the game. He emphasized that he wants to stand across from Dana and test himself in that competitive space, believing that the sport only benefits when two powerful promoters go head-to-head. Not long after those comments, Dana White fired back in his own way during an appearance on the Jim Rome Show. Dana made it clear that there's nothing but mutual respect between him and Hearn, even saying he saw him recently and had a great interaction. But he couldn't resist responding to Hearn's words, laughing about how Eddie is out there saying he can't do this or that, while insisting that what he's bringing into boxing is different from what everyone else is doing. Dana explained that boxing has been stagnant for too long, with promoters recycling the same approaches, and he believes his entry will shake things up. He said directly that he's looking forward to the challenge of competing with Hearn and proving himself as the best boxing promoter in the world. For Dana, it's not about playing it safe, it's about creating something new and exciting, and he welcomes the head-to-head rivalry with Eddie. He even said, "I love this stuff, I can't wait," making it clear he's all in on this challenge. With both men now locked in and openly embracing competition, the future of boxing could look very different. Between Hearn's established empire and Dana's ambitious plans alongside Turki Alalshik, fans may be entering a new era where two of the most outspoken figures in combat sports battle it out to see who can truly deliver the biggest fights and reshape the landscape. Moving on to another news, Renato Moicano and Gilbert Burns gave their breakdown of the upcoming matchup between Jean Silva and Diego Lopes, but the two had very different opinions on how the fight will play out. Burns was quick to say that he believes Silva will come out swinging hard, looking for the finish early. According to him, Silva has incredible knockout power, and the first 2 rounds are where he's at his most dangerous. He expects Silva to go fast, go crazy, and push for a stoppage before the fight hits the later stages. Moicano, however, wasn't convinced. He disagreed with Burns and said that in his eyes, this fight is more likely to go the distance. He acknowledged that Silva has big power, but he doesn't see him securing that finish so easily. Moicano pointed out that sometimes fighters with that kind of power tend to fade after the initial burst, and in this case, he thinks it'll be Silva's gas tank that becomes a key factor. The two even debated Silva's weight cut. Burns highlighted how tough Silva's cuts are, saying that in his recent video you could see how much weight he dropped and how crazy the process was. Burns argued that cutting that much gives Silva an advantage in the first 2 rounds because he'll come in big and strong, but after that the energy drop is real. Moicano listened, but he still leaned toward the idea of the fight reaching a decision. They went back and forth, bouncing between their predictions. Burns kept stressing Silva by knockout within the first 2 rounds, while Moicano doubled down on his belief that the fight would go all the way, whether Silva edged it on the scorecards or Diego pulled off the upset. Moicano even mentioned the betting odds, pointing out that Silva winning by decision was sitting at plus 575, which he called a good bet. He added that Diego by decision was around plus 750, and for him those odds made sense because the fight feels like it has a strong chance of going the distance no matter who wins. Burns, still confident, pushed back saying the odds makers had the fight going the distance at plus 275 with no at minus 400, which means the expectation is clearly a finish. For Burns, that was a sign that the early knockout is the most likely outcome. He repeated again that Silva by finish in the first or second round is what fans should look out for. Moicano, not budging, said even though Silva is dangerous, the safer call is to expect a full fight. The debate ended on a lighter note with Burns saying it was easy money, calling it 1000%, and Moicano quickly warning him not to jinx it by speaking so strongly. They laughed it off, but the difference in opinion was clear. For Burns, the power and aggression of Silva will be too much early, while for Moicano, the durability of Lopez and the likelihood of a drawn-out battle make this fight one that could easily go to the judges. That's it from MMA Pulse News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.